Hey, what is going on, everybody? It's Wednesday night. It's 8:05 p.m. My name is Paul Spencer. I am with the legend, of course, Bill Furman from Philly Press Box. Bill, how are you feeling tonight?
I am feeling fantastic. I'm going to tell you, Paul, between rivalry weekend, pushed up against championship weekend, with the Eagles and the Bills game on Sunday tucked in between, I'm on fire, man.
I tell you what, Bill, you're speaking my language. I mean, this is the best. I mean, we had great games all throughout the season. Don't get me wrong on that. But, Bill, this is what I can't wait to. Week 13, 14, basically, the final predictions are coming out. The preset of the Final Four coming out this weekend. Sunday, it's like Christmas Day when I wake up on Sunday, Bill. I'm going to know who the Final Four is. Sunday afternoon, I'm going to find out. Exactly right. I'm going to find out where my Notre Dame's going. Have they done enough to maybe get a something other than the Blockbuster Bowl? I don't know, Bill, even though that's not even around anymore, but
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to quiz you here a little bit later on about this couple scenarios. You would think when we go to bed on Saturday night, we should know everything there is to know about who's going to the Final Four. Not so fast, my friends. I
like that. I like that saying. I like that saying, Bill.
We'll see.
Are you going to put the head dressing on too? Do you have one of those from Lee Corso too, Bill? Or
no. But I'm going to make you scratch your head tonight.
You know what? I think I'm going to be pronounced with a little chaos coming to me in a little bit, right?
That's right.
Boy. Well, Bill, hey, let's talk about some games last week before we get into what game caught your eye last week.
All of them.
Very true. Very true, Bill. Very true.
Here you go. Michigan, Ohio State, 6 points.
Yes.
The Iron Bowl, 3 points. Kentucky, Louisville, 7 points. Florida State, Florida, 9 points. Georgia Tech, 8 points. I mean, these games were all close. Could have gone either way. And the first three that I threw out there were down to the end. I mean, they were barn burners.
Yeah, Bill, I tell you, I didn't watch a lot of the games last week. I watched something on like a replay, system for like half the game system. But I was, coaching. We lost last week, 22, 2016. We lost in the championship. But I tell you what, I know we tried to slow the game down, Bill. But you know what? The game was one in the trenches. They did the same philosophy I did. They took control of the ball and just never gave it back. 4 times 3 equals a first down, Bill.
That's right.
That's what they did. And,
move
kudos
the
to them. Exactly. Move the sticks, move the chains, and that's what they did. Better team won. But, Bill, real quick, I'll tell you one thing that these kids taught me more than I taught them this year, because my thing is sportsmanship on the field, off the field. You're a product of what we put out there. Live by it, die by it. These kids, Bill, after the game was over, they walked from the hash marks, didn't take their helmet off, grabbed each other side by side, and walked off the field together. It brought tears to my eyes, Bill. It really did.
That's good. Good stuff.
But, Bill, that game, Alabama, what in the hell happened? Bill, how does that happen? 4th and 30 something. How does this happen?
Yeah, I mean, it just can't happen. It can't happen. But, I guess the craziest thing of all that, to me, the quarterback couldn't run the ball. He wasn't going to gain 40 yards running the ball. So why not rush him, make him uncomfortable, and make him do something? Well, they decided to rush 2, drop everybody else, and gave him 8, 10, 12 seconds to throw the ball. And, one defender got his back turned, and that was the guy.
It's you know what? It's live by your poison, die by the poison. I guess it's a great philosophy where, Milroy's not going to run the ball 35 yards into the end zone. We get that, Bill, just like he did, drop back, play a force, cover shell out there. Put your wide receivers at corners and let them bat the ball down, whatever you have to do. But I give credit to Milroy, that one opportunity. He found the guy looking at the ball, Bill, not looking at the ball, and he went to the right guy.
And he made a perfect throw.
He did.
And the crazy thing is the receiver was actually open.
Yes.
It wasn't like it was a jump ball. He was open by a step or two when the ball got there. But I guess the crazy thing to me is even if you just rush 4, you don't have to rush, 5 or 6, rush 4, drop 7, play at the goal line, keep everything in front of you. It's all good. Once the quarterback crosses the line of scrimmage, you bail out of the end zone.
Mhm.
like I say, the chances him scoring from there on a run were probably zero.
Right.
Chance of throwing a touchdown pass was probably 1%.
Mhm.
He got the 1%, but just strategically, I just didn't understand why you let the kid stand back there because it's hard to continue to cover for 8-10 seconds.
Yeah, Bill, they always say, "What's the hardest position to play in football?" I think it's a corner, of course, because if nobody's gonna play corner for 9 or 10 seconds, Bill. We know that,
Right?
regardless of numbers that you're playing. But I thought that was the most stupidest thing I've ever seen, rushing 2 people, Bill.
Yeah.
I understand you drop 9 back, but you gotta get some pressure. 4 on 5 on the offensive line versus defensive line. Put some pressure on a
Right.
quarterback. This
Make them
make
uncomfortable.
make exactly make him uncomfortable. Make him think about, okay, well, I don't have that 10-second clock on my head here. I have a 5-6 second clock here at the most. I got to make a throw sometime. I can't just sit back here and play 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. I
Right.
can't do it.
And
I don't
even
get
the
it.
two guys that rushed, if you look, once they didn't get in there, whether they got tired,
Mhm.
they kind of dropped. They dropped into neutral land. I mean, they didn't drop
Yes.
like linebackers, but they stopped rushing.
Mhm.
Uh, I just didn't get it. And Eddie is probably right. I'm surprised they didn't
I
fire
am
the
too.
DC.
I am too. I know.
Just in my mind, just a terrible tactical play by Armor.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the stats build, of 27-24, of course. I mean, the Auburn offense only had 330 some yards total offense. I mean, it was a defensive game. Milroy had 259, 192 on the ground for a team. But Bill, we always say that play, 60 minutes of the game here, but the
Yep.
last 30 seconds was just, I don't want to say play the game 60 minutes. I want to play knowledgeable football, not stupidity, with
Yeah.
this game here.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I told you about 2 years ago when I was at Jordan Hare for that Iron
Yes.
Bowl, and kind of the same thing happened. Alabama was behind the whole game, and
Mhm.
for the last 90 seconds decided to win. It's like there's magic at Jordan Hare. It's a bunch of buddies were texting me. He said, Bama's going down. Bama's going down. I said, let me tell you a quick story. I said, it ain't over till the last play.
Yes, very
And
true.
then I started getting these WTF texts. Like, what,
I got so
what
many,
just
Bill. It's like,
happened here?
my buddy is a big Bama fan. He's just like, you know what? It's over. And I was like, look, my good friend Bill told me a story one day, back in the day this happened. And then all of a sudden it was just like, it was, the WTF. I got all those on my messages until the last play. And like, oh my God, OMG. Like, all the capital letters times 50 of them, Bill. And I was like, hey, you got to play the game to the end. Anything can happen in college football or any league. Oh,
Absolutely.
insane, Bill. Insane.
Great game.
Yeah. Bill, let's talk about this. I mean, this was a great game. Michigan, Ohio State.
Right.
Wow. 30-24, Bill.
Yeah.
Wow.
The game certainly didn't disappoint. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Two heavyweights. They went at it. Somebody had to lose.
Yeah.
Michigan made a couple plays. Is all that it really took. They did a pretty decent job on Marvin Harrison.
Mm-hmm. He had 5 catches, 118, Bill. You can't stop him, but you can try to contain him in a way. But
right.
you got to make others around you beat you too. Michigan did enough to do that.
Yeah, and a lot was said about the quarterback play from Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, I didn't think he played bad. He didn't give in to the pressure. I didn't feel like they just didn't win. And I don't know. I don't know that I see a loser in that game. I see a winner in that game. One team just got it done, and the other team played their tails off.
Yeah, I mean, McCordy didn't have a bad game. I'm pretty biased, Bill, because it's the St. Joe's product, of course, so I don't want to say negative about him. But 18 for 30, 271, 2 TDs, 2 picks. The one pick was force the ball downfield. That was a kind of a bad pick that Michigan compensated right off that, went down. Corum got a score off that right away. That was a momentum changer right there, Bill. But I think he played a good game. Just like you said, I don't think there was a loser in this game. These two are heavyweights, Bill. And they showed what they're about. 6 points. That tells me, like, well, you know what? There was one play that caused that 6-point disadvantage. Either way, it could have gone, Bill, honestly.
Absolutely. And, it kind of surprised me the way the rankings fell.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State took kind of a bit of a tumble.
Yeah.
I think. And to me, they lost a really close game to the team that's now number 2 in the country. I'm not sure that I would have dropped them quite as far as they got dropped.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about that with the rankings here, Bill. But just like you said with Ohio State, well, okay, yes, they lost to Michigan, number two. Well, Notre Dame, they beat Notre Dame when they were sitting sixth. They beat Penn State. I mean,
Right.
it's they haven't lost to a outside the top five basically. If you really put Penn State in that category too,
Yeah.
who they played, who they've lost to. But I think they took a huge beating in the droppings this week, Bill. I really do.
And what do you think about Ryan Day? I mean, the guy's lost what, 7 games, 6 games, or whatever since he's been at Ohio State. He's lost 3 of them to Michigan, and they're wanting to run him out of town.
You know what, Bill? I want to say this. You're a Penn State fan, but you know what? Can we get off James Franklin back and talk about Ryan Day for a little bit? Same category here. Wins, wins big games, but who do you lose to? That's just like Penn State losing to Ohio State and Michigan. Well, you can't beat Michigan.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I don't know.
And they're not happy with him in Columbus. I don't know that you would dare make a move.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
But I see what Eddie's sending up here, and I got a couple things for a couple of his comments as we move along as well.
Definitely, Eddie. We will be getting into the top 25 I put up there, but we'll talk about those maybe about 10 minutes. So let us know. Bill's going to elaborate his thoughts, and I'll try to chime in as well on those. So we'll see what's going on.
There you go.
But Bill, what other game did you see? I mean, this weekend, Bill, was just insane. Insane this weekend, Bill.
Well, the Kentucky Louisville game, I called that one.
You did. Yep, you did.
I felt that Kentucky would go in there and beat Louisville. They did. Mm-hmm. Kentucky played really well. Louisville bounced back and stayed in the game throughout. Right. Had a chance all the way down to the end to win. But at the end of the day, Louisville is out now. Their chances of beating Florida State, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how that's going to go. Florida State, on the other hand, fell behind to Florida 10-0 right out of the chute.
Yeah.
The second string quarterback looked like he was having some struggles. Mm-hmm. Settled in. They took control of the game, played really well, and hats off to Florida State in that game. They bounced back when it looked like they were going to get run out of the building.
Yeah, I thought Roadmaker was just, okay, he's done. He's seeing glimpses of I can't compete here. But I tell you what, the kid played with heart, and they came back to win that game, Bill. I mean,
he actually got better. He got better as he got more comfortable in the game, and being behind didn't bother him.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yeah. Bill, the other game I want to talk about is Washington State, Washington. Talk about a escape, Bill. 24-21.
Yeah, and I think because of that, and it's another rivalry game.
Yes.
It's one of those deals that anything can happen, and almost did. But because of that, it turns out that Washington now getting no love as they're big dogs to Oregon this week.
9 points, Bill.
That's a ton of points to me in this game.
It's crazy that you beat them in the beginning of the season. Right. 2 top-ranked teams, 3 and 5 at that point, I believe, or something like that. Yep. And now you're 9-point dogs by losing by 3 or winning by 3. That's saying something like, okay, we've been watching who Washington's been playing. You've been escaping. Otherwise, Oregon is blowing out teams that they should blow out. It's style points, and it's the eye test here, Bill.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that today too. Is the whole thing is kind of crazy. It's about winning. We can look right over and talk about the Eagles. Mm-hmm. They're winning.
Yeah.
And they're behind, and they're getting out yardage and this and that, whatever. But they're winning.
True.
And if you're being penalized for winning close games, I'm not sure that's right. But I mean, the good thing for Washington is they're going to get to prove it. They're going to get on the field with Oregon and, see if they can do it again. But that point spread really blows me away.
It did, Bill. I had to look at that, and you know what? I took Oregon +9 right away. I'm sorry. I stayed away from it actually, but when I seen that line, I'm like, do I take Washington +9? I'm like, I don't know how to read this game because -9 is a huge number, something you don't see in a one loss team versus an undefeated team, both pretty much in the top 5 here. That's
that are in the same conference.
Exactly. I mean, right.
Like
it's already played each other. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Not like one played on a weak side schedule over there, and these guys played people over here. They played each other's
Exactly.
opponents.
But before we get into the last game, I want to talk about the game that really had no manners to me: Oklahoma versus TCU. Reason why I say that is 1,100 yards total offense, Bill. Nobody plays defense in Oklahoma. Whoever they play, it doesn't matter, Bill.
No, and speaking of Oklahoma, I think we all had them locked in to play Texas, and guess what? They're not
Yes.
playing Texas. They're
Well,
out.
another Oklahoma team is coming in, Bill. Oklahoma
Yeah.
State. The Cowboys took that spot, Bill.
Yeah, and that was a crazy finish too for them, and they ended up
yes, yeah.
They're going to go to the championship game, and you know what? Mike Gundy can win that championship game. I don't know that he doesn't have near the players probably that Texas has. Mike Gundy's a good football coach, and he will have his team prepared to play this weekend.
Yeah, I thought Oklahoma State was going to lose last week, Bill, at the beginning of the game there, but the adjustments were made, and they never settled down. They continue playing Oklahoma State football. They ground it out. You find ways to win. I tell you, Texas is going to be in for a battle, Bill, when we get into that.
Yep, I think you're right.
Yeah, but I mean, real quick, Bill, let's talk about Jaden Daniels real quick, Bill. I thought he was going to throw for 5,000 yards this game here. He only had 235, didn't have to do much. It was. Right. What do you think he is still in the top 3 or 4 here, Bill, for the Heisman?
Oh, he's absolutely in the top 3. I'm going to say, for the moment, he's in the top 2. And I'm going to. And by the way, I didn't know we were going to talk about him, but I wrote down some stuff.
I knew you did, Bill. I knew you did.
235 passing, 4 touchdowns, and 120 rushing. For the season, 3,812 yards, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 1,134 yards rushing and 10 touchdowns. That's, for quick math, 4,946 yards and 50 touchdowns.
Bill, well, you remember 2 or 3 weeks ago, I sent you that thing where we talked about Lamar Jackson winning the Heisman. He has more passing yards, more rushing yards, more touchdowns. Joe Burrow, same way. More passing yards, more touchdowns, and of course, 5 times the amount of rushing yards he had, Heisman Trophy winner. Bill, this kid is insane. He really is. He really is.
He is. And the reason I say he's in the top 2, my other one in the top 2 is the winner of the Michael Penix Bo Nix game.
Oh, wow.
I think if one of those plays really, really well, and ends up with 1 loss or no losses, I just think that might swing over the guy with 3 losses who's not in a championship game. He's not going to be on national TV this weekend for the world to see one of those 2 throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns or whatever.
I completely agree with you, Bill. I think the top 3 to me is I still haven't taken Penix off there yet. I still put him in the top 3. To me, right now, in my eyes, Bill, it goes to what you said too. A 3-loss team, it shows that you have to win to produce the Heisman Trophy, no matter who you are. So I have, honestly, I agree with you. I have Bo Nix number 1 to me. It's all going to come down to who wins this game, what quarterback outplays each other in the Pac-12 championship. But Bill, let me ask you this real quick. Okay, Michigan plays Ohio State. Michigan plays Iowa this week. Are we excluding Marvin Harrison right now? Is he not even going to get an invite, Bill?
I'm going to think he's probably not.
Okay.
He's probably, just because he's a receiver and not a quarterback, he's probably going to fall off. Maybe he's number 4. And maybe he would get an invite that way, just to be an invite. I thought for a while that he really could have a chance of winning it. He keeps putting up great numbers. He's going to win on draft day.
Oh, big time! Yeah.
Somebody gonna pay him a lot of money to be the first receiver coming out.
I'm just kind of sorry that he's gonna. I'm just sorry he's gonna go to the Chicago Bears. Honestly, Bill, with 1-4 right now, I hate to say he's probably gonna go to the Chicago Bears.
Well, got to build somewhere.
Yep.
Right. I mean, but I think he's probably out.
I think so too. I think
he's still probably the best player in the country. But
I agree. There's one person, Bill. I'll tell you before we do. There's a comment I want to get to real quick, but I want to say if JJ McCarthy gets an invite before Marvin Harrison, I got a problem with that.
No, McCarthy's not getting an invite.
I think he might, Bill, because it's always quarterback friendly, Bill. There's always that three quarterback, four quarterback, one, throwing out there either like a Brock Bowers but Brock Bowers has missed too many games this year. He can't
Yeah.
get it. Like, but
No,
Bill,
no. I think the Penn State game where he threw for 80 yards or whatever, and then who was the game after that? He threw for less than 100.
okay,
And in the
yeah,
Ohio State game, he managed the game.
hmm
He was not spectacular. He was good. He did what he was supposed to do. He's not the Heisman Trophy winner.
no, I agree. I agree with that because I did hear some people say like McCarthy should get an invite because of the fact he's taking care of what he needs to do. Well, Heisman is about not a game management. If they want a game management trophy, give one out there. The most calculated quarterback out there, give him that award. But there's no way he's doing what he has to do. But Heisman is about the numbers and about the records and about what glamour you can produce, Bill.
Right. And if it's all said and done, if Michigan wins a national championship, that will be his Heisman.
Agree. But before we get into the rankings here, Ken Fry I want to hear thoughts on this too. Thoughts on the increase in transfer portal. Should players be allowed to transfer junior year or later?
Junior year or later, they could. Well, I mean, they're allowed to transfer anytime they want.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not sure. What's the question?
Okay, let's put it this way. Rephrase it. When do we talk about you shouldn't only transfer? You should only transfer one time. Is my belief. You go there, you have to live up to your contract. Bill, if you hire me, for a failure contract, then you know what? I got to fulfill my contract. Number one, I can't go to another company. I have to do my due diligence and work for you for the 4 years. But what are your thoughts of when should a player not allowed to be transferred? Bill, should a junior or senior be able to transfer?
Sure.
Think so? Okay.
Sure. I mean, I don't like the whole transfer thing to start with, but the rules are what they are.
Sure.
The only thing I think that you should only be able to transfer once. You should play at two schools. I think there should be a cap on that.
Agreed.
Unless
your
coach leaves.
Different story. Yes. Different story.
I think if you transfer from Penn State to Notre Dame, and you play a year at each place, and all of a sudden the Notre Dame coach leaves, you should not have to stay there.
Agree. I mean, that happened when Brian Kelly went down to LSU when Marcus Freeman came in. There was so many transfers that came in. Well, they a verbal or written contract or written agreement that a lot of players leave. I get that point, but I think you should stay where, unless just like you said, a coach transfers or gets fired or whatever. That's a different situation because a new coach, Bill, if I'm coaching a certain way here, I'm running a run and gun. You come in, you want to run that Big Ten football ground and pound. Well, I'm a wide receiver. I'm not going to get the ball under your system, so I have every right to transfer 100%.
Yeah, and we saw this already. We could do a whole show on this transfer portal as it's going to play out. I think because Michigan State hired their coach the other day. All three quarterbacks left.
Yes.
Three linemen left. Couple guys on defense left. They've had a mass exodus into the transfer portal. It's just going to be tough. And Van Dyke, you and I talked about that from Miami. That quarterback left. The Duke quarterback left.
Yeah, Riley Leonard just declared today that he's in the transfer portal.
Yeah, Kansas State. Will Howard is leaving. It's going to be the Wild Wild West.
It is, Bill. I mean, I wrote down a couple of quarterbacks that are actually transferring. Riley Leonard today, Will Rogers from Texas A&M, Max Johnson, Tyler Van Dyke. Now, Bill, here's an interesting one. I just heard today that Cam Rising will be back to Utah next year.
Oh, good.
The quarterback for the entire season here, Nate Johnson, has already entered the transfer portal.
See, it's crazy.
It's insane. Now, Bill, the one real quick, I want to ask you one name real quick. Now, Ewers is coming back to Texas next year. What about Archie Manning? Does he transfer or not?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think he does. What does he have to offer?
Very true.
He's got no film. He's got no game experience. He's still a high school kid. The red shirt of the year. He's got all his eligibility left.
Agreed.
There's no reason he can't sit his freshman year, which would be next year, would be his true redshirt freshman year, and then start as a sophomore and play 3 years, or 2 years, and go to the league. Yeah,
Which is like, yeah, there's no film on this kid. He's living by the Manning reputation right now. To me, he wasn't even the best quarterback coming out of Texas, Bill. Honestly, there was some players out there, 5-star recruits that looked a hell of a lot better than he did.
yeah,
Coming out of there. Honestly, that's just me for the eye test, but
yeah. And Eli redshirted when he went to Ole Miss.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yep, sure did.
yeah, I don't see that happening. But hey, let's tell the viewers that what you and I were talking about that Matt Rule said. I
Yes.
think that's really surprising. You got it, or I can do it, whichever.
Go ahead, Bill. You please do it, because I'm still like trying to get my head around this one because
Yeah.
I wish I was an athlete in college.
Right. So Nebraska head coach Matt Rule's talking about transfer quarterbacks in the portal that are going to cost $1 million to $1.5 million to $2 million to get them for this NIL deal. And then he compared that to Brock Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers, who is considered to be a pretty darn good quarterback. And Purdy is making what is it, $800,000 on his rookie contract?
Yeah,
While kids are going to make $1 million to $2 million in college. What is wrong with the system?
Bill, I tell you, if I could say something to a child in college right now, stay in school. Be the Sam Hartman. Be the Sean Clifford out there. Go 6 years if you can. Be a Bo Nix. Get all the money while you can, while it's guaranteed, Bill.
Yep. Absolutely. And the coaches said this is going to be the Wild Wild West here. The portal's open. They're flocking to it. Was it one day next week they can actually start signing these kids? It's going to be just absolutely crazy. You throw away your programs because none of them are going to be the same next year as they were this year.
And Bill, the funny thing is, before we get into what we came here for, the top 25 rankings here, Colorado, I sent you this. Colorado has lost 4 5-star recruits already, Bill, and that was on visit week too. The week after is when they decommitted from Colorado.
They're in trouble. He's in trouble there. He lost the coach with 40 years experience, basically ran him off. Mm-hmm. His OC that he demoted is gone. His recruits are leaving.
Yeah.
He's going to have to go to the portal to get replacements, and you didn't treat the guys that you brought in very well, or at least publicly. You're not the attraction that you were at this time last year.
And Bill, it's like a catch-22 situation here. Just like he says, you benefited from the transfer portal last year. Now you don't like it, Bill, because players are going to the transfer. I don't know if you're verbal there, you're committed, and then you enter the transfer portal, but you lived by it last year. Now you're dying by it. People are decommitting from you, going elsewhere. You know what? I just don't get it. I really don't. I mean, I've never been a fan of Deion, honestly, Bill.
Well, the Deion thing, and we talked about this before too. Mm-hmm. I think the things that we hear that he says to his players is all good. He's a good man trying to teach the kids right. The public persona that he puts out and the way that his players seem to act lacking discipline. Mm-hmm. That's not a good look. And he didn't do a good job as a coach. He trashed his O-line. He trashed his players.
Yes, I remember that.
He fired his coordinator. He just didn't do any, and he made some bad decisions in the games. It cost some games, and they only ended up winning 4-8. So
I mean, I remember him saying that, but when we talked about the offensive line there, Bill, if you're my dad and you're my coach, I'm the quarterback, I get sacked 15 times a game. Well, you know what? It's time to change the philosophy of the team here, not blame the O-line. You better protect my son because that's my son. That's basically what he said to the entire media, the entire team, and the world to hear, Bill. That's the wrong thing to say.
Absolutely.
And
I saw a thing that said, this was a day or two ago before some of these decommits, that the recruiting class was ranked like 67th.
Yeah.
Already, and that was before he lost some of these guys. So he's got a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, we might be seeing another buyout here, Bill, pretty soon. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what his contract is, but we'll be talking about him in a couple of years if it doesn't turn around there, Bill.
He's letting head out right when his kids do.
Yeah, I think so too. Hey, I'm done here. I've done my job.
Right.
I've done my job. But Bill, let's talk about it. Here we are. It's week 14, Bill. We have the four teams here, 1 through 4. I did put down top 25, but we don't have to go that deep. Bill, where do you want to start? Where do you see
Well,
the
here's where
lineup?
I'm going to put you to work.
Here we go. Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
So
Ready.
we see what we have here. I
Mhm.
don't think there's really a whole lot of arguments with what we see in the top 8.
No.
They're the one-loss teams and the no-loss teams.
Mhm.
9 and 10 and 11 and 12 are all 2-loss teams. So let's get them out of it.
Okay.
We'll go 1 through 8. I'm going to lay a little scenario on you.
Okay.
And I will make you work. Okay.
Sounds good.
Alabama beats Georgia.
Okay. Let me write that one down. Bama beats. Okay. Bama.
All right. Michigan wins.
Okay.
Michigan goes to number 1.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Washington loses to Oregon.
Which I can see happening, though.
Now they have a loss. Georgia has a loss. Alabama has a loss. Oregon has a loss.
Oh, gosh.
Florida State wins.
Oh, you had to give me that one, Bill. Can you make it easier to have them lost for me, please?
No. So now they go to number 2.
Gosh. Okay.
All right. So there's our top 4. We said what they're going to do. 5. We said what they're going to do. Ohio State is sitting at home. They're not going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, let's say they win against Oklahoma State. So they have 1 loss. And Alabama, we've already said that they're going to beat Georgia. They have 1 loss.
Man, Bill.
Now, who you putting at number 3 and number 4, pal?
Bill, this is chaos. Chaos, Bill. This is what we want. This is what we want, though, Bill. This is what we want, though.
And it could all happen.
It could all happen. Okay. First, I think Bama actually beats Georgia this week. I really do. So there's going to be the SEC Championship, Alabama, both 1-loss teams. I'll jump down to Texas. If Texas wins this game against Oklahoma State, yes, they did beat Bama, but I got to look at that strength of schedule, Bill, and put Georgia at probably dropping down to 2 because you have Michigan winning. I'll put Michigan 1. Georgia's still sitting at 2. 3, you gave me Florida State winning, so I have to, I got to give them the trophy there. I got to give them the undefeated trophy. I'm going to put them at 4, Bill, but that 3 team that jumps up, it has to be. I don't know what to do here, Bill. Oregon, you have Oregon winning, Texas winning, Bama winning, but Texas did beat Alabama. That's chaos, Bill. That's chaos for that.
So I'm just going to muddy this water for you just a little bit further. Here's a website called Team Rankings. I've never seen it before. Mm-hmm. It's a strength of schedule rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 is Ohio State.
Wow.
With the highest rated strength of schedule. Number 3 is Michigan. 2 was LSU, by the way. 3 is Michigan. 4 is Alabama. 5 is Texas. Penn State, Mississippi. Notre Dame 9, by the way. Georgia at 13. Oregon at 15. Florida State 16. Washington 17.
Wow.
So there's your teams. They're all in the top 17. Did I miss somebody? Oh, the only other one was Iowa. They're way down the list.
Yeah, they're way down there. Okay. Wow.
So they're all in the top 17. So you can use strength of schedule a little bit.
Yeah.
But you're kind of splitting hairs.
Then do you go to head-to-head, Bill? Because, okay, if Alabama wins, Texas wins, they're both sitting there 1 loss. But do you put that head-to-head matchup and give Texas the nod? But then you look at Georgia being beat by Alabama. I don't know which way to go here, Bill. This is chaos. This is chaos.
Well, I think first thing you have to do, in my opinion, is
goodness.
13 by 13.
Wow.
Looky here. Wow. So they've lost to the Pink Quakers and the Hawks. The Hawks will never die.
Oh, goodness gracious. Wow. Okay.
So I think the first thing you had to do is you have to get Ohio State out.
Agree. That non-conference championship, the championship hurts them, Bill. They're idle this week, so that hurts them. I eliminated them right away. I eliminated them. Yes.
Okay. So, and that's kind of a shame because I think they're better than a lot of these teams, but they're not playing in the championship. Mm-hmm. I think if Alabama beats Georgia, Alabama's got to be in.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my take. Florida State, if they're undefeated, Michigan, if they're undefeated, have to be in. Um, Texas is going to play Oklahoma State, little lesser competition there. So I would go with the Oregon Washington winner with the 4 spot.
But Bill, then
That
you
would
said
be,
regarding Eddie here, Ohio State had a huge strength of schedule, correct? You said
they were number 1.
number one, and that's kind of weird that you say that because you look at Ohio State played Michigan, Penn State, Notre Dame, and then those.
Well, the Notre Dame is what swings it because in
Yes, because
this
they were high at that
particular
point.
ranking, Notre Dame was 9.
Exactly right.
So Penn State, let's see, Michigan was 3, Penn State is 6, Notre Dame is 9. So that's what gives gives Ohio State that strength of schedule boost.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, okay. Who do you pick? Okay, it's a scenario you gave me, Bill. You gave me the scenario. Bama beats Georgia. Let's just talk about Georgia. Where do they drop from 1 to where in your eyes?
I think they're gonna go to 4 or 5.
Wow, with a loss to Bama.
Yeah, they have to.
Wow.
They have to because these other teams are going to win.
Yeah. To me, I feel the same way somewhat, Bill. I think if it's a close game, they might argue because we always know, Alabama, Georgia, you have to have one of those teams in there, Bill. So it's going to be one of those two. If it's a close game, I could possibly see maybe both of them getting it. No, I don't even see that, Bill. I think winner goes in, loser goes home.
I think so. I think so too.
Yeah. If Georgia loses, Michigan wins. Michigan goes number 1. We agree with that.
Yes.
Okay. Now the scenario. We have Oregon at 5. If Oregon beats Washington, number 3 team, where do we place them in the top 5? Thinking that Florida State's going to win this game.
I think Oregon's going to be in
at 4.
If Oregon beats Washington,
Okay.
I think Oregon goes in. My final 4 are going to be Georgia, Florida State, Oregon, and Alabama. If everything happened that we said, and maybe not in that order.
Exactly. This is what we get down to, Bill. This last week here says it all. Win or go home, strength of schedule, throw it out the window, head to head, throw it out the window. This is the week. A lot of people say that the BCS voters in the committee have their eyes set on certain teams, Bill. But this goes to show you can't have that philosophy going into this last week, Bill. There's too much to play out right now.
No, right. And I think where it could come back into play is in this crazy scenario we're talking about. If they all have one loss, a bunch of them, and you say, you know what, Alabama's a big draw,
Yeah.
and they've only got one loss, and you're splitting hairs to keep them in, or you're splitting hairs to keep them out. They're going to put them in.
I think it was a couple of years ago when Alabama was sitting 5 or 6, Bill, and Nick Saban went on air. He made a mistake for his team, saying, "Hey, listen,
last year that was last year.
Okay, it was last year. Hey, you might have made a mistake here because we are one of the top teams, no matter what you say, and we can beat some of these teams regardless of what our record shows."
Last year they lost by lost 2 games at the gun, both on the road, both in the SEC by 1 or 2 or 3 points, and he thought they were as good as anybody else, and he might have been right.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that one.
The hard part of all that is going to be if Alabama Georgia is a close game. Say it's a 27-24 game. If you're going to move Alabama from 8 to 4, say, and then move Georgia from 1 to 5. That's
that's jumping a ladder or going down the ladder, falling pretty damn quick, honestly.
Yep.
Either way that you look at it there, Bill. But Bill, let me throw something at you real quick. Okay. Let's just say Georgia wins. Okay. So they're going to be unanimously number 1. Michigan loses somehow to Iowa, which I don't see happening, but Iowa does play some pretty damn good defense,
Yeah.
So let's throw it out there. A miracle happens. They do beat Michigan. Oregon beats Washington. Florida State loses. Then where do we go, Bill?
Oregon beats Washington and Florida State loses.
Yes.
So you're saying the only undefeated team would be Georgia? Did you say Georgia wins?
Georgia loses. Put Georgia losing.
Oh, so everybody has a loss.
Basically, yeah. This is chaos this week, Bill. I'm going to go the worst case scenario at you. The chaos city happens, Bill. The only undefeated team is the Michigan Wolverines. So we move them to 1. Where do we go to 4 now?
I thought they were losing Iowa.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, Bill. I'm creating chaos on my own mind. Let's have Michigan lose. Let's have the worst case. Yes.
Okay, so if Michigan loses to Iowa, they're out. because I was
Agree.
ranked 16th.
I agree.
That sends them out. We've already sent Ohio State probably out because they're not playing in the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Having no Big Ten team would be not good though. When it comes to looking at the whole picture. By the way, my screen's froze at 39 minutes and 26 seconds. Who knows? Who the heck knows why?
I don't get it, Bill. I don't know. Every week at this certain time.
Yeah. So if I go away, I'll be back.
No problem. No problem.
Geez, I guess I would take the Oregon Washington winner. I would make number one if that were the case.
Does Ohio State pop in here, Bill, with maybe Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, you would have to put them back in the mix.
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and so would Texas, and so would Alabama. They'd all be in. You know, you would have to really go back, I think, and look at this strength of schedule thing, and let that play into it. And like we said, Ohio State is 1, Michigan is 2, or Michigan is 3, Alabama 4, Texas 5.
Okay. Oh, we lost Bill for a second. Bill will be back. I don't know what it is. Every time we do the show from 8 to 9, Bill actually freezes at about 8:30ish, 8:45 at the latest. So we're right about that time, 8:45. Bill will be right back here. But I agree. I mean, I want a lot of chaos. I think chaos is going to happen this week in the BCS, the championship standings here this week, conference championships. I don't want it to be easy. My philosophy is I want the best teams coming into the BCS Final Four here. To me, the best team right now, of course, is Georgia, Michigan, Washington. I'm a kind of a little on the ladder with. I understand, just like Bill said with the Eagles in the NFL, win who's in front of you. You find ways to win the game, but you're escaping a lot of games to me. So Washington is on the fence with me, even though they are defeated. Florida State is on the fence with me a little bit as well, undefeated. The slap in the face on them would be ACC schedule. Maybe to me, I would have been a little bit more lenient to that if they played a Notre Dame, even though they're sitting, lower in the 17 in the BCS rankings. If they would have played them, a higher powered team than the ACC here, I would have put them definitely in top 4. But I think one of the best teams that are playing right now is Oregon University. I think the Oregon Ducks are playing one hell of a ball right now. Kid says, no way, Michigan. No, I agree, Kid. I said worst case scenario. If it happened, I want to create chaos. I think Michigan blows them out. This is a game I don't think Iowa scores 10 points. I don't even think they score 7 points this game. They have no offense at all. They barely escape games. They can't put up points. So I think this is going to be a blowout as well. I mean, Michigan, I think they'll win by probably 21 easy, and I'll probably be in the first half, honestly. Paul, my top 4 teams in my own are UGA, Oregon, Michigan, Ohio State. I agree with Oregon and Michigan and Georgia. Ohio State, I mean, you look at their one loss, of course, by 6 points to Michigan. But then I look at, I look at the other teams too, playing great ball right now. Do you put it like a Bama team who's rolling right now, finding ways to win as well? But I agree with you. I don't have Florida State in my top 4. So I don't know. I'll see. I don't see Iowa scoring more than 3. I kind of agree with you. I think it's probably going to be like a 28-35-7 game. There he is. He's back. He is back.
Craziest thing ever.
I know, Bill. I was just saying, usually we do these show an hour. It usually happens around 8:30ish. We feel that little freeze. 8:45, we lose, Bill.
Right.
I don't know what it is, Bill. I think it's something between Pennsylvania and Florida that they don't like here or something, Bill.
I have no idea. All I know is it freezes. I could talk for another couple minutes with you, and then all of a sudden it's frozen.
It is. Bill, there was some people when we were talking about Michigan losing Iowa. I said, that's just the worst case scenario. It's not even going to happen.
Right.
Right. Eddie says my top 4 teams with his own either Georgia, Oregon, Michigan, and Ohio State. Let's see. He also says I don't see Iowa scoring more than 3. I think if they score 7, they're lucky, Bill. Honestly. Yep. And I wouldn't have SU in my top 8.
They're undefeated in their league.
True.
And it's a Power 5 conference. So you can't not include them.
He says that damn Florida internet.
right?
Oh boy.
I mean, what you couldn't you let's just say they all won. These top four win. You can't knock
Mm,
FSU out and
true.
have three undefeated teams and take it one undefeated team and tell them slide on down. We're bringing a one-loss team in here. You just can't do it.
True. Now this is a great comment here. Committee is praying that Louisville beats FSU Florida State here, Bill, because you knock on it. Yes, just like the next comment here. Eddie says ACC. I get that point too, but man, wouldn't you love to see a Bama, a Georgia, a Michigan, and an Oregon in there, Bill? I mean, these
Yeah.
teams rather than a Florida State, because it's all
Well, we're dogging on the ACC. We weren't dogging on the ACC when it was Clemson, and Clemson was winning
Ooh.
national championships. They
Oh,
were as good as everybody else, but now we
wow.
got a problem with Florida State. I mean, they
That's a
beat
great point.
Clemson and they beat everybody else.
That's a great point, Bill. That is a great point.
And,
Nobody
and
was
I,
talking about
don't get me
Clemson.
wrong, I'm not a huge Florida State fan.
Mhm.
I just feel like, hey, here they are. They're undefeated. They won all the games on their schedule, and they're not Tulane and they're not Liberty.
True. Yeah. Liberty, 9-1, I believe, this year or something like that. They're sitting at 25. Well, there's a different story, Liberty and an ACC component. But that's a great topic that you brought up there, Bill. Clemson, we talk about their strength of schedule. What was the ACC? It was Clemson, Clemson throughout the years, the dynasty, Watson, Trevor Lawrence days. That is a great point that you brought that up, Bill. Yeah, you're right about that. 100%. I never looked at it that way. Definitely, definitely. All right, well, Bill, how about we get into this week's games here? How about we do that? I mean, it is conference championship week this week, Bill. Where do you want to start? You want to start with Friday night's game? You want to go with the Pac-12, Bill?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, Friday night, Pac-10, the Pac-12. I'm sorry, Washington sitting at 5. I flipped it there. What do you think about this one here, Bill? What do you think? -9 Oregon, Bill.
Well, if I were a betting man, I'd take the -9. I just think that's way too many points for this kind of game between these two teams.
Agree.
With that said, my eye test tells me Oregon's playing better football.
Agree.
But Washington beat them. And if you remember that game back when it happened, it's been a long time ago now. We thought Oregon should have won that game. And they had a few blunders, made a couple coaches' decisions that weren't the best, but ended up losing. But I would go Oregon, but if I were a bettor, I'd take the points if I were Washington.
I kind of agree with that. I'm going to stay away from this. If I play this game, Bill, I'd probably pay money line on this and take Oregon. That 9 points, I don't see that happening in a blowout either way with these teams. It was a close game in the first round, Bill, so I'm going to go Oregon wins this game. But I like how you said earlier, this is going to be a Heisman showcase right here. It is going to be Penix versus Bo Nix. Whoever comes out on top, I think they hold the bragging rights to the keys to New York when they get that award, Bill. But I'm going to go Oregon here. I like how Oregon's playing right now. They're blowing out who they should blow out. Defense is showing up right now. Washington's escaping teams that they should handle in a different way. I got right now the eye test and strength for me, Bill, is Oregon, 100%.
I'm with you.
All right. What kind of score are you looking at, though, Bill? This week's we only have 5.
We're going to score points. We're going to go like 41-37 or something.
Ooh,
we're going to score. We're going to score points.
41-37. Okay. I'm going to go. I'm going to be right in that category too. I'm going to probably go 40. I'm going to go 42. Wow, 42-37. 42-37 Oregon.
All right.
Wow, we got a shootout. That Pac-12 plays no defense, I guess, huh?
We'll find out. That's a big game.
I hear it. Where do you want to move on to, Bill? What game do you want to move on to here?
Well, I'm going with my. Got to come up with one upset out of this. I'm going with the Cowboys.
Wow. Okay.
I'm going with the Cowboys over the Longhorns in the Big 12 championship game. I like Mike Gundy. Speaking of squeaking games out,
yes.
Texas has been squeaking them out all year long. If I had to take a loose cannon game, this is it. I'm going Oklahoma State.
I agree with you, Bill. I think this Oklahoma State, the way they showed something last week, being down in the first half and making the right adjustments. I love Gundy as a coach. I think he's a great coach. He has those kids playing ball. We know Texas has the horses, Bill. We know that. We know they have the horses, but sometimes when it comes down to the best horse always doesn't win, Bill. And I
Yeah.
think this week
The
Oklahoma State
crazy
wins.
thing about Oklahoma State, we talked about this the last week or week before, was they beat Oklahoma, turned around and lost by 42 the next week,
Yeah.
and then turns around and wins again.
Mhm.
I'm going to say I'm going to go. I'm going to stick with Mike Gundy on this.
I am too. What kind of score you got, Bill?
What's the line in this game?
I can look at it for you real quick. Let's see real quick. Should have wrote the lines down.
I'm taking Oklahoma State for the win anyway, but
Me too.
I'm just
Me too.
curious what the line is.
Bill, you're not going to believe this. I mean, this is going to be a huge upset. Oklahoma State is plus 15.
Okay.
Plus 15. Okay. I agree, Bill. I think Oklahoma State wins this game. I think it's going to be a close battle here. Oklahoma State can score. Texas can score too, but Texas does give up a lot of points too when you don't think about that. I'm going to go, I'm going to go 33-29 Oklahoma State.
33-29. I'm going to go 35-21.
Wow. Almost.
Nah,
wow.
Nah, that's too much. 35-30.
35-30. Okay, 35-30. Okay. But if you're a smart betting man, take the 15 points, I think. I think they're not going to cover 15, of course. Yeah. Kid also says, I agree, Oregon covers. Cover, that's 9 points. I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game, Bill. I don't know. I don't know if the cover is going to be there, though, honestly.
He thinks Oregon's going to win by 9.
Yeah. I tell you what.
I'm not.
Man, I don't know. I don't know about that one. But I do agree with this. Eddie says, not having Jonathan Brooks preseason All-American is going to hurt him, of course. I mean, that running game that they have with Brooks, that opens up so much Worthy downfield to Xavier Worthy. So that's going to hurt him as well. And I think Gundy's he's already known that. It did show last week with Texas game, having, the top running back out, of course.
Yep.
Bill, how about we move on to the ACC since, we're talking about the ACC being undefeated. Does Florida State stay undefeated, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had Louisville as my fraud all along. And I'm going to
that doesn't help me with Notre Dame there, Bill. I mean, the fraud Louisville beat Notre Dame here.
Yeah, well, and that shouldn't have happened.
No, it should not have happened. No.
But yeah, what's the spread on this one?
This one actually is. Let's see here. Wow, Florida State's only 2.5 favorite, Bill.
No, that ain't happening.
No, I don't. I agree with that one. I think Florida State probably by double digits here.
Yeah, I'm going 38-17.
Okay,
Florida State.
I'm kind of right there with you. I think Roadmaker. I mean, showing what he did last week, Bill. Just like you said, he struggled in the beginning of the game here. Being down basically, but that third and fourth quarter, he got better. He got better as the game progressed. 4 quarters here. I think this is going to be probably. I'm going to go 43. I'm going to go 43-23 Florida State.
There you go.
Yep. Eddie says, yes, Florida isn't that good. I agree 100% there. God, good. Yep, there we go. Okay.
There you go.
Let's go to the Big Ten here, Bill. Michigan, Iowa.
Well, I think this one might be a little closer than most would expect, but it's going to be low scoring.
22.5, Bill. 22.5.
I don't know that they're going to cover that 22.5, but I would go maybe. Well, I guess what I was going to say comes out to 21. I'm going to say Michigan 24, Iowa 3.
You're giving them 3 points, huh? Okay.
Yeah, they might luck into a field goal.
I'm going to go 26-6 here, Bill. I don't think they get in the end zone. I think they kick 2 field goals. Their kicker is pretty damn good. I mean, he's kept in a lot of games because that's basically, I think he's their leading scorer for the entire season, their field goal kicker. So I'm at least going to give him two field goals here. I'm going to go 26-6. Michigan doesn't cover this game. I think it's going to be convincingly win. J.J. McCarthy just controls the game. They're not going to cover that 22 points, though, Bill.
Yeah, I think if you're Michigan, you just keep doing what you're doing. You're going to play close to the vest, play solid defense, run the ball. There's no need to score 40, 50 points. You're not going to get anything out of that or to even try. So just keep smacking them in the mouth. And Iowa plays good defense. And,
sure.
They're just not going to score any points against that Michigan defense.
Exactly. Eddie, is he playing? I'm not sure who you're referring to. If you're referring to Jonathan Brooks, he is out. He has an ACL tear, so he is out. He is definitely going to be done for the season.
Yeah.
If you're referring to him, yeah. Eddie says Michigan by 24. Wow, and his score is 34-6. Bill, a little bit higher, definitely higher than ours. So okay.
Yeah.
All right, wow. So he's got him covered in that game. Bill, let's talk about the last game here. Let's talk about it. Georgia, Alabama, SEC, the NFL Farm Division here, Bill.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you're going to be seeing big boy football players all over the field in this game,
And the line is 5.5 Georgia, Bill. 5.5 Georgia.
Yeah. I've been kind of riding that Alabama train for a handful of weeks, and I'm going to keep riding.
Ooh. Okay.
Georgia has taken care of their business. They've beaten everybody handily, but I don't know that they've played the really good teams. Even though the Alabama-Auburn game, of course, Georgia, what's Georgia on my list here? Georgia's 13th in strength of schedule. Alabama's 4th. Rodemaker. He wanted to know about Rodemaker. He's playing.
Rodemaker is playing. He's a starter. He's already been named it. I mean, he's definitely starting.
He's the guy. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm going to take Alabama in this game. And I'm going to say 34-31.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Can Alabama score 34 points, Bill?
Sure.
Against this Georgia defense?
Sure.
Man, Bill, I tell you what, I'm on the same boat as you. I have Alabama winning this game. I can't never knock, Nick Saban going into a win or go home game, Bill. I can't do that. The way he plays ball right now, that defense is just so strong right now. If Milroy can just keep the ball and not turn the ball over, they have a damn good shot at winning this game with that defense.
Alabama's doing it the old-fashioned way. They're running the football and playing defense, and it doesn't look quite as pretty as some other teams are doing. But Georgia hadn't seen a defense like they're going to see against Alabama.
Exactly, and you can put Conklin out there. You can put the best wide receivers out there, the best tight ends out there. Nick Saban has an answer for that, Bill. And you're not going to be playing a cupcake team here. You're playing the Alabama Crimson Tide. That defense. I'm going to go 26-23 Alabama, Bill. I want chaos. I want chaos.
Look at you flipping like that.
What's that?
Look at you flipping like that.
Well, I love Alabama for some reason. You're convincing me, Bill, because you haven't been wrong with these upsets, Bill. I tell you that. And the way you're telling me, I agree with you. That Georgia defense is good, but Bama's defense is elite too, Bill.
Yeah.
And
I see. I don't look at Georgia Alabama as an upset. I just think that's just a slugfest game. I don't see that as an upset. Now Oklahoma State over Texas, I think that's an upset game.
I agree with that one too. I think it's an upset. I think that's the biggest upset this week. I do see that. I mean, the biggest upset to me would be probably a Louisville beating Florida State, but I think Oklahoma State, if that happens, that is a huge upset as well. But these, Bill, regardless of records, you throw these records out of here. Alabama lost to Texas early, Bill, very early in the season.
Week 2, I believe.
Week 2, exactly. Yep. Week 2. And, 12 weeks have been, gone here. Alabama's playing ball here with what we said was a suspect offense, Bill, but they come out and win the games with, Milroy. So, wow, man. But, Bill, can you believe this? Next week when we're on here, Bill, we'll be talking about the BCS Championship Series, of course. We'll be talking about the bowl games coming out, Bill, because they come out Sunday as well.
Yep.
Wow.
And then we'll be talking Army-Navy because that's my favorite game of the year.
Where's that one at this year, Bill? Is that down in Annapolis this year?
It's in New York, I think, in that cesspool.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I think it's in Giant Stadium or whatever they call that place now.
Oh, yeah. Jet Life, Met Life, whatever the heck they want to call it now. Yeah. The toilet bowl, both teams up there now.
Cesspool.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's one of the traditions, Bill.
Oops, did I say that?
That is one of the traditions that you can't ever get rid of, Army, Navy. You just can't never please.
Oh, my favorite game.
Please. But, Bill, before we get out of here, Bill, where can they find the legend at?
I don't know if there's any legends. If you about Press Box Radio, you can do that on Wednesday night, 7:00. We just finished our show tonight. Had a great time. Had a special guest, Freddie Burns, join us. Chet had the night off. But talking all things Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, Phillies, college football, a little bit of everything.
Gotcha. And I chime into that show all the time, Bill. Great show. Please follow Philly Press Box, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe to them. Great group of guys. Bill and Chet are one of the reasons why I really want to start doing this, listening to you talk about passionate sports, something I believe in. So I love doing it as well. Thank you for paving the ways for little peons like me.
Well,
Bill.
I appreciate it. I think I think tonight might have been show number 470.
Wow. And you know what, Bill? It's how you say that 470. People don't look at that as a big number, but I tell you what, our listeners out there, there's only one show that they do, Philly Press Box, and it's that high. It's insane, Bill.
Yeah, we're coming up on our 10th anniversary here in the spring. It's been, if nothing else, we've been persistent. We haven't gone away.
Definitely. Please don't ever go away, Bill, because I have to watch something from Wednesday at 7 o'clock, and that's my favorite show to watch. And my thing is, Bill, I can't believe that I gave props to your Eagles tonight. I really think they're going to win. I did say that. I'm not a homer. Even the Cowboys, I said on your show, I think the Cowboys win the game, but I would take the 9 being a Seahawks fan because I think the Cowboys are looking forward to the following week, Bill.
We'll see. A lot of good football ahead.
Definitely. Still early. But, Bill, I want some chaos next week. So let's hope we get a little more chaos, and let's make the voters out there really start scratching their heads about who the best teams are after this weekend, Bill.
You bet.
So, Bill, my name is Paul Spencer. That is the legend Bill from Philly Press Box. You've been tuned into College Football Frenzy every Wednesday at 8:05 p.m. We'll be back next week to talk about some chaos, bowl games, and maybe a little bit of Heisman talk as well, Bill.
I'm ready.
So, are you ready to get out of here until we do it next week?
Let's do it.
All right, Bill, I thank you for appreciate you chiming in, and we'll be back next Wednesday, 8:05. Until then, see you guys later.
See you.